Oh, welcome back everybody to this review of Marvel's Midnight Suns. Played on the PlayStation 5. I have completed the game. I've rolled credits. I've done some of the end game content. I've done now all of the challenges for the heroes and everything. I want to give you my opinion on the game. Obviously there is going to be heavy spoilers as it says on the screen, but let's get with it. I've got some background footage just going with me walking around the Abbey. And again, spoilers here will be locations and characters, and obviously you'll see most of the characters and stuff, but I will break down in a timestamp as well just what everything is like, so you have an understanding of what you're doing. If you want to hear my certain thoughts in certain areas, then you can skip to where you want to go. First of all, I want to talk about the story. So one thing I was concerned about for this game was the story. How is it going to be? What's it going to be like? And I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was quite compelling. I liked how they introduced the hunter, who's the main protagonist of the game, and how they linked in. I liked, yeah, the journey and how it went. I liked some of the twists at the end, you know, Lilith's reasons for doing it and all of that stuff. And yeah, just the general beats and how you get to where it is. And you know, how Banner goes dark, how Scarlet Witch goes dark, and then how you get to bring them back and how they become playable. Because I'm starting to play the game and I'm like, oh my god, I know Scarlet Witch is a character, but she's an enemy. How does that happen? And obviously Venom is going to be part of the DLC that comes out, which I'll come on to a bit later as well. But yeah, story I found really interesting, really good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, not too much more to say about that. I thought it was just well executed. For that, I think as we go on to sort of the next part of why I enjoyed the story, it was I really thought the voice acting was really done well in this. They just nailed each of their characters that they were there. I think Nico's was actually the same actress that played her in the Runaways TV show. I don't know the names of most of them, but on the whole, they were really well done. Just, you know, kudos to that straight off the start, because yeah, I just thought they were excellent. I now want to talk about the visuals, and I'm going to split this out into cutscenes and just general stuff. So again, as you can see going around, the visuals aren't the best. They're not what I would call next gen. I believe this is on all platforms, so PS4, PS5, the Xbox Series is, I don't know on Xbox, I don't know exactly what they are, and on PC. And I think there's a couple of limitations here. So cutscenes, you know, the cinematics, really good, really enjoyed them. General around like this sort of area when you're up talking to characters and stuff, yeah, not the best. And in my playthrough that I did, the caretaker had a really weird glitch in her eye, and yeah, there's a couple of sort of ragdolling where some of the capes and stuff would come through and all of that. So that was a little bit disappointing, but you know, the cutscenes are really good, really well done. But it's held together by the voice acting, as I've said before. So yeah, general cutscenes really good. General overall like this, you know, I've seen better looking games. And again, I think this is a problem with the current situation of games where they're trying to do for old and new gen. You find there's some compromise around. Visually though, yeah, you know, it's not dreadful, but yeah, certainly some issues there. Talking of issues, let's go on about performance. So in my play style or play time for the game, I have experienced a couple of crashes. So I'm just sat there recording away, or even in between some of the ones where I'm not recording, and then boom, encounter the problem, reload. I'm like, oh, God. Luckily, it's got a really good auto saving feature in the game. So, you know, down to literally only losing the current turn that I was on. So if I was in a battle and I'd done some turns, it's auto saved, and then if it's crashed, in the start of the next one, then yeah, it's brings you back to, you know, the turn. So at worst case, you're only losing a turn. And similarly, if you go and open up some gamma coils, and I've had a crash after a gamma coil's been opened, autosave has come back to there. Yeah, I've also had a few issues with saving. So if you try and overwrite a save, it is incredibly slow. Again, this is on the PlayStation 5. Can't talk about any of the other systems that it was on. But yeah, I had a few issues slow saving. So yeah, that is a performance. Then let's get into some of the good stuff, shall we? Let's talk about the characters. So one of the things I said at the beginning was I really like the story. And one of the reasons why I like the story is because there's such a difference to the characters. That each of the characters are unique. They stand the test of time throughout the whole of the story. You could take them in, and you know, lo and behold, we're about to go and do a story mission, I believe, or a battle, I believe. Yeah, you could take Spider-Man, pull on him because he's just showing on screen. And the Hunter and another character, and they work together, which is really, really good. But in terms of them as a general character, they all have fleshed out backstories. The Hulk, probably not so much because he's a boss for most of the game. But yeah, they all have backstories. The way that the friendship system is, and then you get updates, you know, 5 of them through, and you know, and you get a bit more one-on-one time with them. You get really fleshed out stories. Each of their personalities are really individual. It's yeah, it's really, really, really good. And how they bounce off each other, and they're just talking to each other in the background while you're doing stuff, is just phenomenal. And again, it's one of the reasons why, for me, as I haven't said it already, and I will talk about it more in my rating section, is that it just elevates into one of the best games that I've played. Yeah, it's just really, really good. Really, really refreshing that they've taken the time to build up these characters, and as I say, just keep them really unique and symbolize them with what you know from a comic or the MCU, for instance, or you know, equivalents across. While we're looking at some footage on the screen, I want to talk about the sounds and the music. Music wise, I didn't really, there's not like a soundtrack that I hummed or anything like that. So musically, it's not there, but that's not a bad thing, because there's so much other sounds and other sort of noises and going on, and conversations and all of this stuff. It doesn't matter that for me the music didn't stand out. What did stand out was the impact sounds that he had. So like Spider-Man's just thrown someone into a railing, and when you get the big boys coming out and doing some massive hits, you felt them. It was really, really good. The sound wise, yeah, they're really good. They got the, you know, when Iron Man was using his abilities, that sounded different to when Nico was doing her abilities, which sounded different to when Magic was doing her abilities, to when Blade was using his sword, was different to when the Hunter was using his sword. Really, really good. Really, really different. And again, elevates the game up, in my opinion. But as we've got it on the screen, and the thing that I want to talk about next is the gameplay. The gameplay for me is what takes this as a decent game. And, you know, when I come to the rating, you'll probably be a bit lower than what you're expecting, but it takes it from a decent game, a game that, you know, you play through and one and done type game. The gameplay then takes it to upper level where it's so varied and there's so much potential for doing different things with different characters and different missions. It's just a game that I've never played before. It's, yeah, style that I've never played. It's top tier. It brings you back for more, and I just wanted to play more of it. You know, that it's, you know, I've been trying to play some other games in parallel, just not happened because I just wanted to play this gameplay. And, you know, it's one of those ones where when you're looking at it, it may not look complicated. It bloody well is. It is. You're juggling so many mechanics, but they're not difficult to understand mechanics. It's the juggling. Do I play, save up for Eviscerate, for instance, on the screen? Or do I use the environmental hazards around me? Do I need to redraw? Do I need to move? How can I reposition my people to maximize the skills that I'm using? And every battle is completely different because you're going in with, you know, if you're in the same team every single time, it probably would get a bit repetitive. But I tried to vary up. You know, I didn't go in with 2 missions side by side with the same people. Often I did it a couple of times just to boost up some friendship scores towards the end. But that's just me trying to streamline how to do stuff. But yeah, I varied up how I played, and it didn't suffer. It excelled from that, and that's it's so good. The gameplay for this is just sublime, and yeah, you know, you've got 10 cards per hero, 30 cards for the hunter. You can vary across them, you can mod them, you can change them, you can go in and add, you know, take your quick card and put a redraw on KO on it, for instance. So you're getting a kill and you can draw a card off, for instance, from that. You have tactics like, you know, throwing people down portals and stuff. So one of the things like there's the summoning circles is to knock one into the portal. There you go. You've got difficult ones. The 2 soulbound enemies on the screen at the moment. One of my general ways to sit, and you'll probably see it in the background footage if it gets that far, is to try and launch one of them off the screen or into a portal if you've got magic in there, or if you've got Ghost Rider who can create portals and traps just to launch an enemy into it and gone. Thank you very much. And obviously there's a percentage based around it, which is really, really good. Never really agreed with a lot of some of the percentages, you know, some of the ones where I've done 25% and it's gone down, and I've had an 85% one not, you know, that's a conversation for a different day. But I mean, you're looking at, you know, a quick slash card. When I first started to play the game, it was like, right, that's got to hit 1 million first. But then you introduce mods like knockback on them, and boom, off it went. And you could knock a big enemy and have weak on it into a minion and get that card back, and the game just opens up. These mechanics just keep coming, and it just opens up. You've got the combat items that just added another little sneak to it. The way you upgrade the training areas so that you can shove enemies, you can shove them into characters, and then you can ultimately shove yourself and cure yourself. You know, these mechanics are brilliant. They're just fundamentally brilliant, and I just want to play more. I've done about 7 or 8 missions, and the one on screen now is an end game mission, post game one. And yeah, it's every time you do one, it gets harder and harder and harder, which is brilliant. I do want to talk about Ultimate 3 though. I will do probably a New Game Plus Ultimate 3 run at some point, but the only negative I can see from this is the rewards for doing it on the hardest level aren't great. So you get more gloss, you get more experience. Now, at the moment in time, when I get experience post-game, I get 5 health, 1 offense. It's not great. It's not great at all. It's not boosting up. And gloss, I've got 9,000 of the stuff. It's cosmetics. There's very few gameplay impacts for gloss. The only thing that is going to the gift shop, buying some gifts, which I've got about 30 of at this point because I keep spending it. So, yeah, there's, apart from, you know, hindering yourself with more HP damage, more HP for enemies, sorry, more damage, no revives, barring Wolverine who can revive himself. I would have expected better rewards. So you get more essences. We get essences from missions. You get more gloss. You get more intel from stuff. But it got to the point where I wasn't really interrogating people because they've got so much health. I need to just concentrate on that. And if I the stars align and I've got one enemy left that I can kill with 2 card plays, and I can use my third on an interrogation, then I'd use it. So I think the rewards from Ultimate 3 aren't great, but I will do a New Game Plus run through with it, just to see how it is from the get-go. Because it ramps up hard, but that's that. So, rambled on that for about 6 minutes. So let's talk about final ratings here. So the final rating for me on this, I would give this probably a solid 8 out of 10. But that doesn't do it the service, and it doesn't give the gameplay the service. This is a game that's gone straight into my top 10 of all-time games. It's up there with like Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 7, Dark Souls, you know, original Call of Duty 2, purely for the multiplayer back in the day. Games that I will always go back and play, and I will always go back and play this game. And they say there's 4 DLCs coming. I'll be getting them. They'll be on the channel. And I really hope that there is a Midnight Suns 2. It's set up at the end of the story for a Midnight Suns 2. The fact that this game is on sale less than a month, well, at this point it's just over a month, but it was on sale less than a month before or after release, shows me that sales for this game haven't been great. And it warrants people playing it. It's an amazing game. Because in some of the faff that's come out in recent sort of times, you know, if I look at, you know, the Star Ocean game that's come out, Valkyrie, Elysium that come out, and nothing compared to this. This game is top tier. Gameplay wise, top tier. Highly recommend it. It has some graphical issues, or well, it does have graphical issues, but it also suffers a bit graphically. The couple of performance issues which hopefully can get patched out. Balance wise, I think it's great. I like the random spawning bosses that can come in. It makes it really, really difficult when they do. But again, you can also save back to the beginning when at the war table beforehand anyway. Yeah, it's just a great, enjoyable game that I would recommend to anybody who plays it. Or who hasn't played it, sorry. If you played it, you're probably still going to play it. I can't see there's many people who will play this and drop it. Or if they have, I would recommend them play it a bit further when it starts to unlock, when you start unlocking mods and all this other stuff. It becomes a top tier game. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. As I say, there'll be DLC will come when it comes out. That'll be covered on the channel. And then probably say highlights for a New Game Plus run. And maybe a challenge run where I go through, not on Ultimate 3, but on, say, Ultimate 1, base cards only. Or no mods on cards. So if I draw a card out with mod, I have to go in and remove all mods on cards. Yeah, doing some challenge runs on that because this game is open for that. No hunter, non-story missions, for instance. If I don't upgrade the hunter or don't play the hunter outside of story missions, that type of challenge, that will come up on the channel. Yeah, so let me know what you'd like to see. Yeah, this has been Marvel's Midnight Suns. Excellent game. If you haven't already, go out and get it. Go out and play it. Support Firaxis on this. Same people who did XCOM 2 and XCOM actually. And that's another game that I will probably now pick up. I think it's in the PlayStation Plus free store, catalog store. So I'll probably go and take a look at XCOM 2 as well in the future. But that is it. That is my review for Marvel's Midnight Sun. Top tier. Go and get it. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all in the next one.